says it expects to double the number of passengers it handles within 3 years. In the latest View from the Top interview, the airport's boss admits other competition from other airports is intense, not least from nearby Stansted. We'll hear from Glyn Jones in a moment, after this report by Alex Dunlop.
Cheap flights, short queues, quick connections. Passengers love Southend Airport, but there are issues on its radar. More growth isn't always welcomed. When Stobart Aviation bought the airport in 2008, residents complained about more noise and depressed house prices. But a new terminal, train station and a longer runway have brought in more jobs. Southend relies on budget airlines. Just one, EasyJet, flies to 15 of the airport's 18 European destinations. What if they were to pull out? Putting so many eggs into the budget basket has boosted profits, but it's a risky strategy. Proximity to London is healthy, but competition from nearby airports is fierce, not least from Stansted, which has capacity for another 17 million travellers. Other regional hubs like Norwich are also fighting hard for business. Of course, this is what it boils down to: passenger numbers. From a low of 42,000 5 years ago to around 1 million a year now, Southend Airport reckons it can boost that to 2.5 million by 2019. When you invest £140 million, you can't afford to be wrong.
Well, I caught up with Glyn Jones at the airport and asked if his ambitions for expansion are realistic or optimistic.
We're in the London market. That market is about 95 million passengers in the last year, so we're roughly 1% of it. If we want to get to 2.5 million passengers by 2019, and that is our stated goal, then we need to get to about 2%, a little bit more than 2% of the market share. Now that means that we've got to increase our share at someone else's expense, that's clear, but we're not talking about completely changing the game. Therefore, yes, I think it's realistic, not enormously optimistic.
I mean, you have seen a huge surge in passenger numbers, haven't you? But there was a dip last year. I mean, we went down about 100,000. Does that concern you?
I think no one wants to see the traffic reduce. No airport ever wants that to happen. But
what do you put that down to, that drop?
Our main issue, I think our main answer to that question is historical perspective. If you look at Stansted Airport over the last 10 years, 5 times it's gone up, 5 times it's gone down. So there are ups and downs. No one wants that to be the case.
Yeah, because you're the boss here. You're not going to dismiss those numbers, are you?
We all want the traffic to continue going up, but I think we have to give ourselves a bit of perspective. In reality, it happens.
You're overwhelmingly dependent on EasyJet, aren't you?
Virtually all of the UK's airports, with the exception of the very largest, tend to be dominated by one or two airlines.
Isn't that a risky strategy?
It's a fact of life. Yes, of course, we'd like to work with other people as well.
Are you in talks with other airlines?
Oh, look, we've talked with other airlines all the time, and I don't think there's any great secret about that. And when the time comes for us to be able to say what the consequences of those talks are, then we'll announce that. London is the most competitive aviation market in the world, by a long way.
And you're a small player in it, aren't you?
We're a 1% player, as we identified a few moments ago. But we designed ourselves, not just as an infrastructure, but as a business, to deliver exceptional service.
How do you maintain that with your goal to get bigger?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I take some comfort from the fact that other airports do. We came out top of the Which report for the last 3 years, but the second airport was City. City has 3.5 million passengers.
Not everyone is pleased that the airport is here. Not everyone wants to see it get any bigger.
We get hands full of complaints. We don't get lots and lots and lots of complaints.
Because just sitting from here, you know, it's very obvious how close this airport is to a residential area.
My job is to manage those impacts, those downside impacts, as well as we conceivably can. And I think we do a reasonable job of that. And to make sure that we deliver the benefits in terms of employment and things of economic impact that come from airport development.
We started off with that goal, 2.5 million, and the potential here for 5 million passengers. Could Southend get any bigger than that?
There's no difficulty with runway capacity. It's relatively straightforward to increase the runway capacity. But I think if we start to get towards that point, we have to address the point that we've just been talking about very carefully. And therefore, if we wanted to go down that road of really driving towards a much bigger airport than, say, 5 million, then we'd have to be very careful about how we manage its environmental impacts.
Glyn Jones, thank you very much.
Thank you.